What an unbelievable week 6 it was in college football. I'm Johnny Soto, and I will be your host for today's show. And joining me, we have our panel that includes Joe Cortez, Tyler Lyon,
rock on,
and Anthony Mitchell.
Cusco's poison. The poison for Cusco. The poison made specifically to kill Cusco. That poison?
Heat on the street, it's making its return to the Inferno, and Angelo Denojian went out to the streets of Phoenix to ask local fans the burning questions about ASU football.
I'm Angela Denojian, and this is our first edition of Heat on the Street for the year, and it is definitely hot out here. I'm testing the downtown campus students to see if they know how to spell and if they follow our ASU alum. Now, with Taylor Keller's injury, Mike Bercovici is playing. Do you know how to spell his last name?
B-E.
B-I-R-G-A-V-I-C-H-I-I.
R-K.
B-I-R-K-O-V-I-C-I.
E.
B-E-R-C-C-O-V-C-I.
V. I-C-H-I.
B-E-R-C-O-V-I-C-I.
You got it.
Yay!
Well, it looks like our downtown students don't really get Bercovici, but they do got Berco down. That's all for us here. Back to you.
It was upsets galore this past week in college football. 11 ranked teams in the top 25 lost in week 6, including USC losing to the Devils on that Hail Mary. Utah went into Pasadena and was able to edge out the Bruins with the last-minute field goal. And Notre Dame just had more in the tank as they handed Stanford their second loss. With the more in-depth analysis of all those games, I'll toss it over to the panel.
This was probably the craziest weekend of college football of all time.
Of all time.
Upsets galore, if you will. How great is it that ASU had the craziest game of them all? The Hail Mary might be remembered as one of the greatest plays in ASU history. A lot went into this play. There was a lot of talk about confusion on the defensive side, who's calling the plays, nobody knows. So let's take a look. There's one key thing I want to point out about this play, but first, can we just enjoy it for a second? Look at that. How about Jalen Strong going to get that ball? Not too many receivers have that kind of instinct. And stun the USC fans. Can we just pause it there for a second? Oh, that is great. Anyways, here's the key play I mentioned earlier. Take a look at number 10 for USC. That's linebacker Hayes Pollard. I tell you what, I would not want to be him going into the film room this week. Did he call for a fair catch? He's like a center fielder waiting for a fly ball. If he does anything on this play, anything at all, we're probably not talking about one of the greatest wins in ASU history.
What a weekend for the Pac-12, guys. You could even say it was packed with excitement. No?
No.
All right, anyways, let's check out how UCLA fell to the Utes. To start things off here in the first quarter, Brett Hundley drops back to pass, throws a little dumper over the top, but it's picked off by Tevin Carter. Wasn't done there. He's going to run right through Hundley. On his way to the end zone for 6, he does a little dance, makes a little noise, and puts his team in the lead. Now on to the second quarter we go. Kendall Thompson rolls out on a little play action, looking deep. Lucky lefty throws up a prayer all the way down the sideline until that prayer is answered by Drace Anderson as he bobbles it, then brings it down in the end zone, puts the Utes up by 13. This woman cannot believe it, neither can I. Let's see it again. He's playing hot potato with himself until he finally takes what is rightfully his, Anderson with the concentration. Later in the second quarter now, UCLA in the red zone, handoff to Paul Perkins, who's going to pummel his way into the end zone for the first score of the night for the Bruins, which wouldn't be their last, but they would not be able to close this one out, losing to the Utes 30-28, and the Pac-12 continues to surprise on a weekly basis.
All right, going into that game, Stanford was ranked 14th and Notre Dame 9th. No upset there, though. The Irish got it done. Stanford has one of the best defenses in the nation statistically. They let up an average of 9 points a game. Notre Dame not far behind with 12. You see that here. We got a 4-3 set. They send 7, puts a lot of pressure on them, and it's rewarded with an interception. All right, very next play, if you look at the clock, Golson with the keeper, and he coughs it up. That's about how this game went, though, too. Turnovers, answered with turnovers, and then this. 41-yard field goal attempt blocked. Next possible drive, a 42-yard attempt, wild snap, no dice. Look at this, though. Late in the game from the 23rd, they need the TD, 4th and 11, and it's spread out, 5 wideouts. But finds his man in the corner. What a throw, what a catch. Lastly, we see the same exact approach from before with the 7 blitz, and it's rewarded. Hogan barely gets it off. That's all she wrote. Notre Dame stays undefeated on the season. Johnny.
With many of the underdogs prevailing this past week, we can't forget about the wins and loss column. So I'll turn it over to Faith Decker to update us on the current Pac-12 standings.
Thanks, Johnny. Looking at our Pac-12 standings to the north, Cal continues to reign, projected to potentially play the Wildcats in the title game in December. Behind the Bears, we have Oregon picking up the 12th national ranking this week, and Oregon State following behind. Stanford falls back a bit with the 25th ranking, and behind them, Washington State looking at a 1-2 after their loss to Cal. And lastly, Washington picking up the last slot. And looking at our Pac-12 standings for the South, we can see Arizona holding tight to first in their division with a so far undefeated season on all fields. Arizona State creeps up right behind with a 2-1 hold after their nail-biting victory against USC last Saturday. Right behind them, we see USC now sporting those same division stats as Arizona State and trailing along, matching UCLA and Utah after Utah's shocking win last week against the Bruins. Colorado remains in last, still without a division win. That's it for the Pac-12 standings this week. Back to you, Johnny.
Thanks, Faith. Now it's time for the oh-so-interesting Pick'em segment. First game, we got the Washington State Cougars taking on the number 25 Stanford Cardinal. Panel, will Connor Halliday's arm be enough to slow down Stanford's defense?
Not likely. Mad props to Holiday. He's putting up Heisman-like numbers, but the Cougars themselves are pretty weak, and Stanford's home field advantage is the real deal. Fear the tree.
Anthony, we went over this last week. It's the wrong tree.
It's a palm tree.
Let's get
this time.
tropical.
Let's
in there,
get
huh?
tropical.
Well, Jackie Moon action.
Anyways, the two worst jobs in all of sports have to be the running back for Washington State and wide receiver for Stanford. These two teams are complete opposite of each other. One never runs the ball, that's Washington State, and one only runs the ball. Anyways, Stanford's just a better team.
Is that an arm?
Yeah, Connor Holiday, he throws it until his arm falls off.
You have a tree that eats people. Okay, well, take a look here. I'm going to give a quick disclaimer. I am not an art major.
You could have fooled me.
Totally journalism. But Stanford's a team that just gets better with age. You know, as each game goes on, they just keep getting better and better, like a fine wine, you might say.
Like a fine woman, maybe cheese.
Cheese, even. So
the movie Cool Runnings.
Other than quarterback for Washington State, they really don't have anything that's going to stop Stanford from winning this game.
Up next, we have USC on the road to take on number 10 U of A. Gentlemen, do the Wildcats have it in them to continue their undefeated ways, or will the Trojans find a way to revive their season?
You know, this is going to be interesting. I think Trojans, a very talented team, obviously. You know, they were ranked very high, but they've had some serious hiccups. I don't know. You got to think that they're going to be coming out angry after that Hail Mary play with ASU. They've beaten Stanford. People are fired up in Tucson, though. Going to be a good game. I think it goes to Trojans.
I never know what to draw for these guys. But if you ask me, the school down south is probably the most overrated team in the nation. They need a miracle to beat Cal and the football powerhouse, UT San Antonio. And they barely beat Nevada. I could go on for days. You get the deal. USC usually has trouble in Tucson, but USC is probably the most talented team, NFL talent-wise, that the cast have played so far.
The cast.
The cast.
They're never going to live that down.
Gotta go with USC.
Apparently, Tommy the Trojan now rides a dog.
That's a horse.
I'm going to throw up
better
the,
than your
talk
drawing.
smack about the drawings.
the 2 fingers for victory, although may look like a little bunny rabbit or anything else. I'm not sure. USC's the real deal, so I'm picking them for this game. That's really all I got.
And last but certainly not least, we have number 12 Oregon heading down to Southern California for a showdown with number 18 UCLA. Panel, who will bounce back from a disappointing week 6 and who will get their second loss in a row?
Oh, Jesus. All right, this is like a stick figure duck thing. But, I mean, you know, it's got to be Oregon. They were ranked 2nd in the nation. They've got a statement to make, and who better make that statement against than UCLA? It's a Pac-12 rivalry.
Congratulations on probably
And
the worst drawing.
I have
seen.
real things to say here. Forget the whiteboard. Brett Hundley, Mariota, there's been a big conversation about who's the more NFL-ready quarterback. You know, this is going to be that stage.
Well, how great is this game? You got two teams that are coming off a loss that absolutely need to win. They can't afford another conference loss. UCLA is going to be fired up after losing to Utah, and they absolutely need this loss. They need this win, like I said earlier. Too bad they're not going to get it. We're going Oregon. That's a duck.
Yeah, I agree with that. UCLA is going to be fired up coming out, but so is Oregon. I mean, they lost to Arizona, and that's not really something that they plan on doing. They were the number 2 seed coming into that, so I expect them to come back, have a good bounce-back weekend. Here is my drawing of a duck.
Ooh, quack.
Quack.
He added
Onomatopoeias.
Well, that does it for today's show. On behalf of the panel, Faith, Angela, and our production crew, I'm Johnny Soto, and this has been The Inferno.